Hey, look guys, it's the 69th broken event in a row. So yes, we do have a new maze event in Dragon City today, and I will be going through this event, the sort of items that you can get for each path. But if you're wondering where the event is, well, it's right here, which, well, it kind of isn't. But you actually can access the event if you see this. I'm on PC right now. It was working for me on mobile, but if you click this very specific tile here that's next to this like wooden plank, it actually works. But if you click like anywhere else, it doesn't let you open it. But like if I click right there, there you go. It actually opens up the event. So very good job once again, Social Point. You truly do amaze me. I don't know how it's possible for a company to release a broken product, just, well, things in their product so consistently broken every single time recently. But anyway, let's not complain too much. We do have this new event here. So this is the Maze Island, and this is a 4-day long maze event. So we don't have tons and tons of currency that's going to be coming our way. However, we do have the basic keys path, and then we have the legendary paths. And this time I'm going to say outright again that probably the keys path will be the better path for most players, because the keys path right towards the end of the keys path, it actually does have one of those paper bags that you need for the collection. So if you are trying to finish off everything in the collection, here it is, the paper bag. You do have to actually go on the keys path. And along with the paper bag, you can get insignias, you can get the pumpkins that you need for the other collection, and we do have these new earmuff items for the new collection that has in it the cutest little boy ever, and I absolutely adore him. So this is the Screams collection. And so Static Screams is the dragon that you can now get if you get 25 of these earmuff items. So I definitely want those. I love the baby form of this dragon, by the way. I will share that shortly. But this is the second part of the collection. 40 earmuffs gets you this, and then the full collection gets you 500 orbs, which you're probably not getting to 55 earmuffs free to play, but at the very least 25 should be easily doable. But of course the other items that we've got include insignias for the Karma insignias, we do have the spiked insignias, and we do also have pumpkin items, which I got a little bit screwed over in the previous fog event when I went for pumpkins, I'll be honest. So that's a little bit disappointing. We're only at 25 right now, but I do also have in the full guide the list of how many pumpkins you could potentially get. So I do mention here that if you go down the keys path, you could get anywhere between 8 to 24 pumpkins, depending on how lucky you get, which if we got 24, that would obviously be enough to finish off this collection here. But it's very unlikely that you're going to get that many pumpkins. But you can also get pumpkins out of the quests as well that are currently ongoing. So there is that as well. But this is the very quick guide that I've written up for it. You can get some of this information, or most of the information as well, from Ditlep. So essentially I go through, I categorize and put everything together with the costs and things like that, and just count how many items we have on each path. And so on the keys path, it's 14,000 currency total, and you can get 12 ear mufflers, 8 pumpkins, 6 spiked insignias, 2 Karma insignias, and 1 paper bag. That should be true unless they change anything between when I wrote this morning and release. And then if you want to put into perspective how much currency you can actually get from this event, we can get 8,000 from resets, 350 from quests, starting currency of 700, and that means that without ads you can get 9,050 total maze coins, which isn't actually enough to get the paper bag, because the paper bag sits at 10,910 currency, so pretty much 11,000 currency. And again, if you want to check this, you can go onto the Impassable page on the Ditlep Maze Guide and scroll down, and you will see that the paper bag is here at 6,100 on the final path, but you have to get the rest of the keys path to be able to get it. So whether you can even get this paper bag will come down to, do you have ads, basically? Which some players right now do not. So that is something that you need to definitely pay attention to. And if you can't get the paper bag, well, maybe you don't want to go on the keys path, maybe you want to go on one of the other ones, but the other two paths don't really have a lot going on for them anyway, so they're not fantastic in themselves. But you can still get spiked insignias, Karma insignias, and at least a pumpkin, for instance, on one of the other paths. But all the info that you need should be written here, more or less. But if there's anything else that's missing, let me know. And these here are the quests. So as you can see from the quest, we've got 2 sets of pumpkins, and then we also have 5 spiked insignias. But the final pumpkin is obviously a big pain to get because, you know, you have to log in pretty much on the dot to get those pumpkins from the quests. So if you can't log on like as soon as the cooldown is ready, then you're probably not getting the final pumpkin, but at the very least you can get the rest of the currency and the spiked insignias maybe. At least another one of the pumpkins is a bit earlier on. But depending on luck, the collection seems to be doable this time. But again, it's still RNG at the end of the day. Reason being that when you go for these pumpkin drops, it is a ×1, ×2, or ×3 drop that you can get from the event. So there is that as well. But anyway, that is the general overview for this very broken event. Again, I would recommend going through the keys path for most players, but it is up to you at the end of the day. If there's a specific dragon that you want to get on the legendary path that's one of the cheaper ones, you can in fact do that, but the full guide is there and the rest of the info is on Ditlep anyway. So yeah, that is maze event. I think most people voted that they like the maze event the most out of every event in this game, which I don't blame them for. But I guess another thing to note is that we do have the Karma quest today. So we've got the one for healing Karma and the one for fragmented Karma. So just like the previous quest that we've got, you know, you can get your hands on some free insignias, free orbs and stuff. And yeah, there is all of that to bear in mind. But plenty of quests for us to do. And then we also have the Static Screamer quest as well. So I will maybe consider doing those just because I like the dragon. So yep, there is that too. So that's most of the new stuff from today. I don't think there's really anything else of note apart from, you know, we do have an Arena Alliance chest on right now, and we do have the Heroic Race still on right now. So a lot of players have reached lap 15 at this point. I'm not at 15 yet because honestly, I've not had the time or the effort or the energy for it. So we can get to 15, we can get the dragon guaranteed, maybe 16. I'm probably not going to 18 this time around, especially since we've got so few gems. Which, you know, I spent it on the island. The island was my true calling this time. It was more important than the heroic race for me. And oh look, free Karma Orbs. Who doesn't like free Karma Orbs? So, yeah, we're just making our way through. I'm not really too fussed about the Karma event or the spiked event either, because I'll probably just try and trade for the spikes afterwards regardless. So I'm not too fussed and not too bothered in that regard. The only other thing to really note is that this pass will be ending in 19 hours, which does mean that we will have the new pass coming shortly. And yes, we do know what the next dragon is going to be, but I guess wait until tomorrow for the official information on that. But in the meantime, we have been grinding out our arena battles as well because, you know, we've got arena battles to do so that then we can actually get arena points for our Lion's Chest. So I think my energy bar literally just finished filling up there. So it's not like I've been wasting time. Don't worry, I'm not being suboptimal. I think it was like literally maybe 2 minutes ago when that filled up. But yeah, we've been having an okay, nice time with our arena here. We've got a few war dragons, but my arena for war will become so much easier once we get our Cinco and also our other boy, our scale up to level 70. Because at the moment they're sitting at level 60, which is absolutely fine. It definitely gets the job done for now. But because a lot of the enemies we run into end up being level 70 enemies, it will be even easier once we get all of them up to, well, I say level 70, I mean level 69, of course, because none of my dragons are going to level 70. But, you know, definitely make sure you're grinding out the arena as much as you can. I basically did, like, no arena fights until this actual arena came up, so that's the reason why I am, you know, not even at Masters 2 yet, with only 1 day left to go, but that's because I was just not logging in before, to be honest. That's what I get. That's what I get for not logging in. Do we take our chances against this Focus Karma? You know what? Just because you're here, I'm going to do it. I have been getting my arena points. We're doing okay so far, so if we end up dying on this fight just because of the Focus Karma, well, I will laugh at myself just as much as you will laugh at me. So, yeah, let's go and see if our RNG is nice to us, or if we get screwed over and we decide to never ever face another Karma Dragon in arenas ever again. Which I've been tempted many times to just say, nope, I'm not doing it. I refuse. I'm not doing it ever again. I mean, we do have our boy here, Knight Select. Oh, look, dodge. Fantastic. Fabulous. I love it. But this is just the way that playing against Karmas is, you know. All that you can do is put up a blockade and hope that things are kind to you, but you may just get dodged 5,000 million times. But that is the benefit of having the dodge, I guess, because even if you get super effective hit, it doesn't actually matter as much. But when we get blocked, how many times was that? Was that four times in a row? Was it 5 times in a row? It was a few times in a row. But is the game going to be nice? We only need one more successful hit. So if this doesn't work, well, there's one dodge. There we go. It was definitely testing us. Definitely testing us indeed. But you do, basically, if you're ever facing Karmas, you need to try and make sure that you are, like, way ahead of them. Because otherwise, if you can't easily beat the fight, you might get blocked 5 or 6 times, and there you go. You've just wasted your battle for that arena point. Which, you know, even if you lose one battle, it's not the end of the world. Definitely not. You can definitely still get through everything, even if you miss a couple of battles here and there. If you get a little bit destroyed, a little bit mogged, it's okay. But obviously, you'd like to try and avoid it as much as you can. So yeah. At least we weren't completely screwed over that time, but that is just the way that it be. Sometimes the game just doesn't want to be nice to you, and you have to be very aware that you could just get screwed over just because the game chooses to that particular time to you. Are we actually going to finish him off, or are we going to get a low roll? Oh, look at that. We got like an exact perfect roll there. Nice. Okay, see, game's paying us back a little bit there, at least. I don't think that was the lowest roll we could have gotten, because that would have been very close to us not getting that KO. Not that it matters anyway, because we would have won, but again, it's the thought of like getting screwed over very slightly that would have been upsetting. Now, Courageous Karma, level 70 with perks. I'm not sure about that one. 21% HP and 27%. Why the 27% Reaper? What is that about? That's disgusting. Either way, I'll contemplate that in a second whether I want to do that one. But as long as we're back before the next set of energy's all done and dusted, then, you know, we'll be okay. It's about trying to be as optimal as you can with all your point scoring in the arena as well. You know, actually being successful in the arenas, but I don't have all of these items because, again, I wasn't logging in to begin with, but we'll still make good progress on it. And we do have lovely Greedy over here in the Hollow, and I've said it so many times that with Greedy, I kind of love him, but I also kind of don't, because with Greedy, he is, in theory, a really insanely good dragon because it's a vampire that also has a skill that mimics an ability that the opponent has. So Megalomania mimics the last attack of the opponent but with more damage, which, if you think about that, if that was player versus player, that would probably be one of the strongest skills in the entire game, easily. Like, imagine having to play around that in a player versus player sort of environment. That would be nuts and actually be quite interesting. Unfortunately, because we've only got the crappy Dragon City AI, we don't really get to play around with that, because yeah, you can sort of bait the enemies into certain moves, but typically it just doesn't work as well as it would in like a PvP environment. So I do like the dragon in concept and how put together he is, because I do love Leech and I do like the idea of being able to use a skill like that, but he's just, it's not the same when you're playing against the horrific AI in this game. And by horrific AI, like, just to give an example of, do I spend 5 to spend 1 gem to get a breeding perk? No, I have like 70 breeding perks, I won't do that. But just to put it in perspective of how bad this AI can be sometimes, I have actually played against a high white tip berserker before, which, if you're not sure what his primary element is, it is primal. And I've played against one of these before with a corrupted legend that has his leech available, and then I was like, oh, well, it's going to use his leech on this enemy white tip because obviously it's super effective and it's going to leech all the HP back. So I clicked autoplay. Of course that didn't happen. Of course, the game just didn't want to use the leech from Corrupted Legend on High White Tip Berserker. Why? No idea. But the game is like that sometimes, and I think I still won that fight by like 100 damage / HP, and that was it. But that's why auto battle is very unreliable. And not just that, the enemy AI is just so out of whack sometimes, so I don't know what people expect, but don't expect good things. But anyway, I guess we will pick up our first set of earmuffs soon. I'm not sure if there's ×2 on these, which is the reason why I don't really want to pick them up on PC right now. Again, PC doesn't have ads, so I'll probably make my way through on this keys path on my mobile device in a second, and we'll also see what our drops are like with these Hallows pumpkins. But if we don't get a lot of either ×2 or ×3s, we're probably not going to finish off that final bit of the collection, because the final bit of the collection, we pick up this this paper bag, for instance. If we get the paper bag from the maze, that takes us to 4 out of 4. And then I think we've got another one from the heroic race still yet to get, so that's 5 out of 6. So the final one, I can't remember where it is, but worst case, you could buy that with gems. And we should be able to get enough gems if I do some rescues, for instance, if we really wanted to buy it. But it's going to depend on what the pumpkin RNG is like. If we don't get it, we don't get it. I'd be most upset about missing Anonymous, if anything. Because again, if I'm not going to 18, the orbs for Hallows, just to have them as extras would be lovely, while not having to do the race. But it would be very disappointing if we missed out on Anonymous. But we shall see how the RNG tree goes this time. But I guess my leaving notes for today will be social point. Please actually start coding your game correctly.